My brothers in this. Y'all this nigga black my eye, man. I don't want to talk. Go get my shake back. Go get it.
Youngboy is really out here _up his crash dummies like they his kids. We got footage of NBA Youngboy literally beating the brakes off NBA Ben 10. And this is going viral for all the wrong reasons. I'm talking about a full-blown fight between YB and one of his own homies that left Ben 1-0 with a black eye and got him kicked off the whole damn tour. But here's the crazy part. This all started over some wrinkled clothes. Yeah, you heard that? Right. Youngboy beat up his own mans because Ben 10 sat on his outfit and made it wrinkly. We've got the footage of YB yelling at him about it, and according to my sources, that argument
escalated into a full physical altercation that's about to change everything in the 4K Trey camp.
Alright, shoot for my clothes. Shoot! My fucking dad! Ain't no fix for my clothes.
This
escalated into a full physical altercation that's about to change everything. And this ain't just some regular backstage drama. This exposes how Youngboy really treats his crew and why people have been saying he got serious control issues. Let me break this whole situation down for you. Because what happened between Y and Ben 10 shows you exactly how toxic this whole organization really is. Before we get into this fight footage, we got to establish who NBA Ben 10 really is and why this situation is so shocking. Ben 10, real name Benjamin Fields. Been one of Youngboy's closest homies since they was kids growing up in Baton Rouge. This ain't just some random affiliate, this is someone who've been riding with Y through all the legal troubles, the beefs, and the come-up. Ben 10 been featured in multiple YB music videos, been on tour with him, and was considered part of the inner circle of 4K. When YB was locked up or dealing with legal issues, Ben 10 was one of the people holding things down and representing. For the crew, this man was loyal to a fault, which makes what happened even more disturbing. But according to people close to the situation, Ben 10 been having problems with how YB treats people for a while now. Sources tell me that Ben 10 was getting tired of being disrespected and treated like a child, especially when he felt like he had earned more respect through his loyalty over the years. The relationship between Y and Ben 10 represents something bigger. It shows how power dynamics work in YB's organization and what happens when people start questioning his authority. Ben 10 wasn't just some yes man, and that independence is what ultimately led to this explosive confrontation. Now, let's talk about what really sparked this whole situation, because the details are wilder than anything y'all could imagine. According to multiple sources, the incident started when Ben 10 was backstage before a show and sat down on a chair where YB had laid out his performance outfit. This wasn't just any regular clothes. We're talking about a custom designer outfit worth thousands of dollars that YB was planning to wear on stage. When Ben 10 sat on it, the clothes got wrinkled, and when Y saw what happened, he completely lost his underscore. The footage that's been circulating shows YB going off on Ben 10, yelling, "You said what? I've told you about my clothes. You my little daddy. No underscore that. My clothes." But what people don't realize is that this video only shows the beginning of what turned into a much more serious confrontation. According to witnesses who were there, YB's anger escalated way beyond just yelling. He started getting personal, bringing up old issues, and basically humiliating Ben 10 in front of everyone backstage. This wasn't just about clothes. This was while using this situation as an excuse to assert his dominance and remind everyone who was in charge. Here's where the situation went from verbal to physical. And this is where the footage that's going viral comes from. After YB finished yelling at Ben 10 about the clothes, Ben 10 apparently said something back that set YB off completely. According to witnesses, Ben 10 told Y he was tired of being disrespected and that he wasn't going to keep taking that type of treatment. That's when YB snapped. The footage shows YB rushing Ben 10 in, throwing the first punch, catching him off guard, and landing a clean shot to his face. But it didn't stop there. YB continued throwing punches while Ben 10 was trying to defend himself and get away from the situation. What makes this even more disturbing is that nobody in YB's crew tried to break up the fight. They all just stood there and watched their boss beat up their homie, which shows how much fear and control YB has over everyone around him. These people were more scared of YB's reaction than they were concerned about Ben 10's safety. The fight only stopped when security finally intervened, but by then, the damage was done. Ben 10 was left with a black eye, a busted lip, and his pride completely shattered in front of everyone who was supposed to be his family. What happened immediately after the fight shows you everything you need to know about how YB's organization, Ridley, operates. Instead of apologizing or trying to make things right, Y doubled down on his position and made it clear that Ben 10 was no longer welcome on the tour. According to sources close to the situation, YB told his team that Ben 1-0 was disloyal and disrespectful, and that he couldn't have people around him who didn't know their place. This wasn't about the clothes anymore. This was about YB making an example out of Ben 10 to show everyone else what happens when you question his authority. Ben 10 was immediately removed from the tour bus, had his backstage access revoked, and was basically exiled from the 4KT organization overnight. This man went from being part of YB's inner circle to being completely cut off, all because he sat on some clothes, and then had the audacity to defend himself when YB disrespected him. The most disturbing part is how everyone else in YB's crew reacted. Instead of showing support for Ben 10 or questioning YB's behavior, they all fell in line and acted like Ben 10 deserved what happened to him. This shows the level of psychological control YB has over his people. But here's what makes this situation even more serious. This ain't the first time YB has put hands on his own people. According to multiple sources and previous incidents, YB has a pattern of physically disciplining members of his crew when they step out of line or disrespect him. DJ Academics confirmed this pattern when he visited YB's house and witnessed him yelling at and putting hands on his homies. AK described it as watching a father discipline his children. But what he was really witnessing was an abusive power dynamic where YB uses violence to maintain control over his organization. The Lil Dump situation is another example of this pattern. When Dump showed up with a busted lip and blood on his face, people immediately suspected that Y was responsible. Dump never confirmed or denied it, but his silence spoke volumes about the fear and control that exists within YB's circle. This pattern shows that YB doesn't just see his crew as friends or business partners. He sees them as subordinates who need to be kept in line through fear and intimidation. The Ben 10 incident is just the latest example of this toxic dynamic playing out in public. What's really disturbing about the Ben 10 situation is the psychological aspect of how Y maintains control over his people. This wasn't just about clothes or disrespect. This was about YB reasserting his dominance and reminding everyone that he has the power to destroy their lives if they step out of line. The fact that Ben 10 had been loyal for years didn't matter when it came time for Y to make an example out of him. This sends a message to everyone else in the organization that loyalty only goes one way. They have to be loyal to YB, but he doesn't owe them the same loyalty in return. The way everyone else reacted to the fight shows how effective YB's psychological control really is. These people were more concerned about staying in YB's good graces than they were about defending their friend, who was being assaulted. That's not loyalty, that's fear. This type of psychological manipulation is common in abusive relationships and toxic organizations. Y creates an environment where people are dependent on him for their livelihood and their identity, which makes it almost impossible for them to stand up to him or leave the organization. From a business perspective, YB's treatment of Ben 10 represents a massive failure in leadership and relationship management. Ben 10 wasn't just a friend. He was an asset to the organization who contributed to YB's success and helped build the 4KT brand by destroying that relationship over something as trivial as wrinkled clothes. YB showed that he values his ego more than he values the people who helped him succeed. This type of behavior creates instability within the organization and makes other members question their own security and value. The public nature of this incident also damages YB's reputation and makes it harder for him to attract and retain quality people in his organization who wants to work for someone who might beat you up and exile you over minor mistakes or perceived disrespect. This incident also exposes YB to potential legal liability. Assault is a crime, regardless of whether it happens between friends or business associates. If Ben 10 decides to press charges or file a civil lawsuit, YB could face serious legal consequences for his actions. The fact that footage of this incident went viral adds another layer of humiliation for Ben 10 and shows how toxic social media can be when it comes to these types of situations. Instead of people being concerned about the violence and abuse, many fans are celebrating YB's actions and making jokes about Ben 10 getting beat up. This reaction shows how normalized violence has become in hip-hop culture and how fans often enable toxic behavior from their favorite artists. Instead of holding YB accountable for assaulting his friend. Loyalty for years. But the moment he stood up for himself, he was labeled as disloyal and cast out. This shows that YB's definition of loyalty is really just submission and obedience. Real loyalty is mutual. It goes both ways and involves respect, trust, and support. What YB demands from his people isn't loyalty. It's servitude. He wants people who will accept any treatment without question and who will never challenge his authority or decisions. The way other members of YB's crew reacted to the Ben 10 situation shows that they understand this dynamic. They know that their position in the organization depends on their willingness to accept whatever treatment YB gives them, regardless of how unfair or abusive it might be. This type of one-sided loyalty is unsustainable in the long term because it creates resentment and instability within the organization. Eventually, people get tired of being treated poorly, and they either leave or turn against the person who's been abusing them. The footage of YB fighting Ben 10 creates serious legal problems that could have long-term consequences for YB's career and freedom. Assault is a criminal offense, and the fact that there's video evidence makes it much easier for prosecutors to build a case if they decide to pursue charges. Even if Ben 10 doesn't want to press charges, prosecutors can still pursue the case based on the video evidence. This is especially true given YB's history with the legal system and his current probation status. Any new criminal charges could result in him being sent back to prison. The incident also creates potential civil liability for YB. Ben 10 could file a lawsuit for assault, battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and other claims. Given YB's wealth and the public nature of the incident, this could result in a significant financial settlement. From a business perspective, this incident could also affect YB's contracts and business relationships. Record labels, promoters, and other business partners don't want to be associated with someone who has a pattern of violence.